Hello, friends. Yesterday we listened to a story about a kind shoemaker and some kind elves. Today we're going to read a story out of our big book. This is the front cover, back cover, and the title. The title of this book is Let's Be Kind. And this is the spine. Now, remember, this big book is special because it doesn't just have one story. It has a whole bunch of stories. And when I open it up, I see the title page. That's just to remind you of the title in case you forgot. And when I turn the page again, I see a special place called the Table of Contents. The Table of Contents tells you where to find things. Now, I know this sounds strange because our book is supposed to be about all kinds of... kindness, but today we will be reading a story that shows different examples of conflict. Conflict is when two or more people do not agree about a situation or an idea, and since we all have different wants and needs and ideas, we'll disagree sometimes. And it's okay to disagree, but it's not okay to be mean. Should I yell if I disagree? No. Should I listen? Yes. Should I take turns? Also yes. Should I cry until I get my way? Definitely not. Our story today is called Two Foxes, and when I move my finger across the page, I see it's on page 6. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to page 6, and there it is. Two Foxes. This is the title, the author, and the illustrator. And remember, the author writes the words and the illustrator draws the pictures. And the pictures that they draw are connected to the words on the page. Now, this is a type of story called a folk tale. So, folk tales are made up of some different parts. Folk tales are stories that have been told and retold or told again from generation to generation, and usually they teach a lesson or a moral. They also have animals or objects that speak, and actions, things that people do, or words are often repeated. That means they happen again. And characters who are good usually triumph over those who are evil. That just means that good wins. Before we start, we're going to do a picture walk. While we are doing our picture walk, I want you to look at the pictures and make some observations. Think about who the story is about and what you think is happening. Where are the characters? What are they doing and how do they feel? What are the other animals doing and what do you think those foxes think about what they see and hear? All right, friends, let's look at our story. Some possums, foxes. Looks like there are even some parrots. Ooh, that one looks upset. Looks like there's some wild boars. Ooh, they look like they're fighting. And that's the end. Let's go back to the beginning. Now that we've previewed our book, let's get ready to read. The essential question I want you to think about today is, why is it important to be kind? Our comprehension strategy for today is asking and answering questions. Good readers ask questions to check their understanding to help them follow what the author is thinking. Good readers also ask questions to find the meaning of unknown words or phrases. As we find answers to questions, I'll make sure to point them out. And remember, good question words to use are who, what, when, where, why, and how. Let's read our story. Essential question. Why is it important to be kind? Two Foxes. A traditional folktale retold by Susan King, illustrated by Wednesday Kirwan. Watch me jump, Blaze yelled to his brother Jay. He took a flying leap across the creek. Great job, Blaze, said Jay. Jay and Blaze were brothers, and they were best friends. Good readers ask themselves questions to help them remember details about a story. We know from the title that the story is about two foxes. After reading this first page, we learn about two brothers. I can ask myself a question to see if I remember the details. I might say, what are the names of the two brothers? Let me think. Oh, that's right, it's Jay and Blaze. Jay and Blaze are the names of the two foxes that are mentioned in the title and shown in the illustration. Jay and Blaze trotted along the creek side. The forest began to wake up around them. Then they heard it. "Move over," said a loud voice. "You scratched me," came the reply. "There's no room for you." The possums were at it again. I know that asking questions as I read helps me think about the story. After reading page 8, I have a question. What does the author mean by "the possums were at it again"? What were they doing? Maybe we'll find out as we continue to read. The foxes watched as the possums competed with one another to get the best seat on their mother's back. "It's my turn to ride on her neck," one yelled. "Not if I can push you off," said the other. I'm going to stop here and see if my question has been answered. After I read this page, I learned that the baby possums were trying to get the best seat. They are fighting about whose turn it is to ride on their mother's neck. This must be what they are doing again. After a while, the conflict ended, and they settled down on their mother's back. Jay and Blaze wondered, is this how a family should act? The two brothers decided to give it a try. "I can beat you to the old hollow log," Jay challenged his brother. Blaze was younger, but he was faster. He raced ahead. He watched Jay from the corner of his eye. "I'm going to win," he thought. Sometimes I ask questions when I come across an unknown word. What does the word challenged mean in the first sentence on page 11? I'm going to stop and reread to see if I can figure it out. "I can beat you to the old hollow log," Jay challenged his brother. As I reread, I see now that they are trying to compete. Jay says something to get Blaze to race. I understand now that challenged means said something so someone will compete. Just then, Jay tripped on a tree root and fell. "Jay!" Blaze raced over to his brother. He looked worried. "I always seem to be the one who falls," said Jay, smiling. Blaze laughed and brushed the leaves off his brother's fur. I have some questions after reading that part. Why is Blaze laughing when Jay just fell? The story said he was worried, and now he's laughing? How does that make sense? I will go back and reread. After it says that Jay was worried, the story reads, "I always seem to be the one who falls," said Jay, smiling. Oh, I understand now. Jay is not upset. He's joking about his fall. Blaze is laughing because he's relieved and understands the joke. Nearby, two parrot sisters, Lila and Lainey, were arguing. Lila had more colorful feathers than Lainey. Lainey got even with her sister by copying her. "My feathers are brighter than yours," Lila said. "My feathers are brighter than yours," Lainey repeated. Lainey copied everything her sister said until Lila burst into tears. Mrs. Parrot then ordered the sisters to apologize to one another. "Should we try arguing with each other?" asked Jay. "Okay," said Blaze as he cleared his throat. Sometimes authors include questions in their stories. We may ask ourselves the same question. Should the foxes argue with each other? This makes me wonder if the two foxes will get into a fight like the parrots if they try to act like them. I can change my wondering into a question. I can say, what will happen if the foxes fight? Maybe if I keep reading, I will answer my question. "I have such excellent fur," Blaze began to brag. "It's so shiny and bright." "Well, you're right about that. That's why Mom and Dad named you Blaze," Jay answered. "Thanks, Jay. I can't imagine being called anything else," Blaze said cheerfully. Now that I read more, I can answer my question. It looks like the foxes did not get into a fight. Jay agreed with Blaze when he bragged about his excellent fur. With that, the brothers began to jog through the forest again. Suddenly, they heard a noise. They darted behind some trees and bushes. From a distance, they heard loud, gruff voices followed by angry squeals. "Let's see where those noises are coming from," said Blaze. Jay nodded in excitement. The sounds grew louder as they approached a clearing in the forest. "I'll see if it's safe," said Jay. He always looked out for his younger brother. I have a question about another unknown word. What does the word approached mean? In the story, the foxes decided to go see where the noises were coming from. This means that they were following the sound. The story also says that the sound grew louder as they approached something. If the sound is louder, maybe approached means got closer. The foxes were getting closer to what was making the sound, so the sound was getting louder. Jay peeked around a tree. He saw a very strange sight. There were several young boars and they looked angry. They were each taking turns scraping their tusks against a tree. "What are they doing?" asked Blaze. Jay shrugged and said, "Let's move closer to listen. Maybe we can find out." "I'm the oldest and I have the sharpest tusks. Watch this." Here's another place where a character asks a question. The question makes me look at the illustration and ask, what is going on? It looks like a wild pig is running toward a tree. Then I start to wonder, why would a pig run toward a tree? If I keep reading, I might find out why. "I'm the oldest, and I have the sharpest tusks. Watch this." A young boar scraped his tusks against a tree. Bark flew in all directions. Jay and Blaze listened to the boar brothers. "You may be older, but I'm stronger," said a slightly smaller boar. Here is the answer to my question about why the boar was running toward the tree. He is sharpening his tusks. The older brother did not like this. He dug his hoof into the dirt. "He's getting ready to charge," whispered Blaze. His eyes grew wide. Then the boars charged at each other. They crashed very hard. I wonder if the foxes will try to charge at each other. They tried all the other ways people argued and fought. Will they try charging? What might stop them from trying it? Jay and Blaze ran. They did not stop until they were back at the creek. Jay asked, "Will you help me look for some berries?" Blaze was glad Jay did not want to fight like the boars. The foxes decided that it was better to get along than to argue. I was wondering if the foxes would try to be like the boars. I found my answer. They did not. They thought it was better to get along than fight and argue. I really enjoyed reading about those silly foxes with you. We did our picture walk, we made observations, and we read the words on the page. Now let's go back and check to see how we know that our story was a folk tale. Well, folk tales are stories that have been told and retold, and they usually teach a lesson or a moral. Did this have a lesson or a moral? It did! The lesson was that it's better to get along than to fight. Folk tales also have animals or objects that speak. Well, who was our story about? You're right, it was about foxes, and the foxes could talk. And there were also possums, parrots, and boars that could speak too. And then also in folk tales, actions and words are often repeated. And in this story, we saw animals fighting 3 different times, and the foxes tried to imitate or copy them the first 2 times. The 3rd time they decided it was better to just not do it. And folktales, in the end, characters who are good usually triumph over those who are evil, and that means good wins. So, well, at the end, did good win? Well, the foxes decided that they did not want to fight and that it was better to be good and kind. So, in a lot of ways, good did win. Now remember, Stories can help us learn and understand new words. Let's see how our story can help us deepen our understanding. The word reply means an answer or response to something said by someone else. Let's look at our story to check that. I'm going to turn to page 8. And over here, it says, "Move over," said a loud voice. "You scratch me," came the reply. Does that help us understand what reply means? Well, one person said move over, and the reply was you scratched me. And remember, a reply is an answer, so yeah, that helps us understand what a reply is. Because I can see that one possum is replying or answering another. All right, let's turn the page and let's look at the word competed. Now, competed is a form of the word compete, and that means to try to win or gain something from others. Let's read that first sentence. Oh, silly me. It's on page 9. All right. The foxes watched as the possums competed with one another to get the best seat on their mother's back. Now, the word competed again means to try to win or gain something. What are the possums trying to win or gain? They all want the best seat on their mother's back. So they're competing. They're trying to win that best seat. All right, let's look at the next page, and I want to think about the word decided. Decide means that you're going to pick or choose or just make up your mind. So let's read the last sentence on this page. The two brothers decided to give it a try. So I know it means to make up their mind. So the brothers decided that they made up their mind. Let me say that again. The brothers made up their mind to try and be like the possums and compete. So the brothers decided. I'm not sure it was helpful in helping me understand that word. All right, friends, let's look at one last word on page 11. And I want to look at the word hollow. Hollow means having an empty space inside. It means it's empty inside. I might say that my cookie jar is hollow. It's empty inside, and I can put cookies in here if I want. Let's see how it comes up in our story. Are you ready, friends? All right. It says, let's see, on page 11, silly me. "I can beat you to the old hollow log," Jay challenged his brother. Okay, so he's trying to beat him to a log, and the word hollow is describing the log, and I know that the log probably was filled before, but now it's empty inside. It's hollow. It sure is fun reading about different words and seeing what they mean in our story. You guys did a great job. I had a lot of fun reading Two Foxes with you today. I can't wait to talk more about it in our pods. I'll see you later.